Hi guys, and welcome back. We are continuing our path in trigonometry, and just a recap, we have defined the three trigonometric ratios. There are more, but we'll get to that as we journey along together this path. We defined, if I look at this triangle here and I label that side y, I've just plotted this already so that we can have more time together. So if I'm here, sine of theta, so quatre, remember that. This thing here is very important, is opposite over what? Hypotenuse, meaning it is y over r. Now, I also said, if you think about the sum of angles in a triangle, then this angle here is actually 90 minus theta, okay? And then we know if we are going to look at the ratio cosine of theta, then that ratio, according to this triangle, should be x over r. And the ratio tan of theta is y over x. Guys, that is the principle in any right angle triangle, or in any angle with a, rather any triangle with an angle which is equal to 90 degrees. That is very critical. Coming up here, you can try and have some fun. Maybe sine A, what should be sine A? What should be cos A? And what should be tan A? Now, what I'm trying to bring to your attention in this respect is that they will use different alphabets, they will use different notations, but that shouldn't scare you or confuse you. You still stick to the principle here or the principle here, so quatre, okay? So in this respect, what is my opposite? It is small a. What is my hypotenuse? It is small b. And I want you to notice something also, which comes from grade 9 and grade 8 when we're introduced to naming triangles. The small b comes from the fact that this side is opposite to the angle b. Small a comes from the fact that this side is opposite to the angle a. Small c comes from the fact that this side here is opposite to angle c. But then going on, you can always choose which way you want to write. So if I don't want to use small letters, I can use capital letters in this sense. The side small a is actually the side BC, and the side B is actually the side AC. I hope you see that. You can do the rest with cos A and tan A. I will not like to spoon feed you. I want you to try and see if you understand where we are going. Now, the key thing in this video is to introduce you actually to trigonometric equations. So I'm going to set up a triangle here and see if you can follow with me. Suppose I name this side, well, I measure the length of this side and I say, well, this length is 5. Okay? And suppose I measure the length of this side and I say, well, the length of this side is 4. And then I get here and I say, well, I want to know what this angle should be. So let me use alpha. Now, when a triangle is given like this, you've got to ask yourself, here is my angle alpha. So which ratio is it going to be sine of alpha, cos of alpha, of tan of alpha that links this side and that side? That's what you've got to ask yourself. Remember, the lazy mathematician does not want to do a lot of work. Doing a lot of work here will mean what? Finding this side here, the hypotenuse. You will obviously use Pythag, but we don't really want to get there. As a matter of fact, we will get to questions like that, but I just want you to understand what it means to be efficient in maths. It means to use the shortcut, the shortest possible ways that is there. Now, in this case, I must think if alpha is here, this side here is actually opposite. This side here is actually adjacent. Okay, let me check there. I have so quatre. Here is opposite hypotenuse. No, I don't have the hypotenuse given. Well, I can find it, but that will take time. I have the adjacent and hypotenuse. No. Opposite, adjacent. So that means I've got to use tan of theta, or tan alpha rather in this case. So I'm going to go ahead and set up an equation and say, well, tan alpha is the ratio opposite over hypotenuse. I mean opposite over adjacent, which is actually 5/4. Now, question is, how do I solve for alpha? Glad you asked. Now, in your calculator, there is a button next to tan. There is a button tan, okay? Then you will see in yellow at the top, there is another symbol there. Now, to activate this symbol in yellow, you have to press Shift, okay? Maybe I should go on and explain what this means. This thing here is not the inverse of tan, but we call this arctan, all right? We use this symbol to figure out this angle. So why don't you go ahead? Actually, if I'm going to solve this equation, what you are doing actually, you're saying arctan, tan alpha. What you do on the left, you must do on the right. Arctan 5/4. Then you are left on the left side with alpha. And if you punch this in your calculator, I have mine here. I'm going to go ahead, Shift, then press the button 10, and then I'm going to do 5/4. And guess what I get? I will round this to 2 decimal place. I get 51.34. And this is, of course, in degrees because we work in degrees. When we use our triangles, that's what you know so far. So alpha is 51.34. Now, can you find this angle? Yes, you know this angle is 90 minus alpha, which is 90 degrees minus 51.34. And yeah, you'll fill up the gaps. Another question is, suppose I label this side and I call it x. So question is, can you set up an equation to solve for x? I want you to try that. See if you can set up an equation to solve for x. In the next video, we will take it from there. Thank you very much. Cheers.